Welcome to
BamBamOrama. BamBamOrama.
Welcome to BamBamOrama. My name is Adrian Estrada.
And I am Jackson Grist.
And today we're bringing to you, I don't know.
The BamBamOrama podcast.
That's right.
You wanted to talk about comedy.
Timing! Yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot of master classes and I'm excited, you know?
Right.
I've been talking to my cousin as well, who's been writing comedy. He's actually kind of a ghostwriter for me on what I want to do on my stand-up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been, kind of talking back and forth. He's recently done a little pseudo first set at a friend's house. We are having conversations now with people where my first set's coming up sooner than later.
Your first set is coming up because I think we said earlier this year. Was that our predictions for?
Well, I committed
episode?
to December at some point.
Yeah.
In one of these. At this rate, where we're at, it might come sooner. So, yeah, comedy's on the mind. Master classes, on top of all of these, things happening and developing within that. It's got me really thinking a lot
About comedy.
Yeah, and writing, mostly writing. To be honest, the comedy aspect of that comes naturally within a lot of what I think is fun to write. So yeah. We've been talking a lot about a found footage type thing and how there's going to be comedic moments within that, but that it's a seriously toned film.
Yes.
And that also is really tickling my, I want to, throw this in there, but how do we make it where it doesn't draw from this and pull from this and all that?
Right. That one's a lot of fun because, I think when I pitched you the found footage one, I did say that it was like a horror comedy, but in all actuality, it's a horror film just with actual dialogue, whereas you put 5 people hanging out, they're gonna say and do funny things, and until
bad things happen.
Until bad things happen. So that's really what it is. It's not really a comedy, but I do want funny things to happen because I want it to be realistic.
Yeah, people aren't stiff, right? When you're trying to get to know somebody, you're usually trying to joke with them, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be fun to write a lot of that, and just writing comedy. The whole thing is writing. It goes hand in hand with it because a lot of comics carry around a notebook. Do you have a notebook you've been carrying around? I've got one.
Yes and no. I actually have a ton of little tiny notebooks, some in my desk, some in my room, that I try to carry around. I also got, we're always looking for sponsors, Samsung. I got the S24, which has the little thing here, so I technically always have a notebook on me where I can just...
The thing that I always had a problem with when I did carry a note at that time was I would write plenty and give myself notes. I just would never go look at them. Yeah.
Going and looking at them is frustrating because also too, like, you forget, and then of course then you go back and look at it and you're like, it's a mess. You're like, here's a grocery list. Here's something I did for my actual job. Here's something I did for something I thought would be funny. Here's a line to a song that, like, why did I write this? Like, it's not even good.
Sometimes I've stumbled upon plenty of those, but sometimes for me, I write like phonetically, melodically. At first, I tie those two together where I just spout out gibberish, and then I'll come and plug words that I like to make the story out of,
Yeah.
And yeah, the tweaks come after that as well to those melody lines, but it's still, that's how I usually approach it. So I have a lot of gibberish that I needed to scrap because I forgot where it was in the melody and why I had that,
I've read up on, your favorite songwriters, Paul McCartney and John Lennon.
I didn't say they weren't good songs.
No.
The whole band was terrible.
No, I know.
As a whole.
That's what they did a lot with their lyrics and their melodies. Like Yesterday was originally Scrambled Eggs.
So Scrambled Eggs.
All I had today was scrambled eggs. Like
just over and over.
Just that, yeah.
That's fair. I was just curious.
That's how Paul McCartney got the melody.
Sure.
And then it turned into something else.
Well, because sometimes you're stumbling upon those because you hear someone's accent and the way they're pronouncing something, and then you hear the music in it. A good clip I like is actually DJ Jazzy Jeff, and he's like, "Listen to this bird."
Oh yeah.
He's like, "Doesn't that sound like?" And I'm trying to think for the life of me, I can't think of who he's like, what song this is. But then he plays the song, and it's that fucking bird. But they weren't probably doing that, and I don't know. I didn't go like read or check it out to see if this band intentionally found this bird and did that.
Yeah.
But it's so much of how music is just everywhere.
So this is Jazzy Jeff's showing this, or Jazzy Jeff did it? Like he
I
heard a
think it was
bird,
a
he
TikTok
recorded
or
it, and he
something.
did it? Okay.
I think it was like an Instagram or something where he's like, guys, check this out. This is where how music is everywhere. Check this. Listen to this bird. And he waits because it's, unpredictable. The bird signals off. I can't do the melody because I don't remember it verbatim. And then he's like, doesn't this sound just like this? And then he plays the song that he heard.
Okay.
That he was like, oh, that sounds just like this song.
Oh, so it was a different song. It was just a matchup. I thought you meant like he had a beat that he used that bird in. That's what I thought originally.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. It's him sampling a bird.
I mean, why not? I want DJ Jazzy Jeff to remix the slap.
I mean, maybe he does resample that bird and goes like, check it out. And then that would be fun if he does that. Comedy. Timing.
So, yes, we're getting ready for you to debut stand up. This is something we also did talk about when we first started this. We wanted to hit entertainment on all fronts that we could possible. And stand up was one of the first like 3 or 4 things we discussed as well too.
Well, I think it's important to go get made fun of by people on your first couple of sets, regardless of if you pursue stand-up. In comedy, you'll have a little bit more of not a backbone, but some substance in there. Because those jokes might turn, if you don't stick with stand-up, those jokes might turn into a sketch. The whole situation might turn into a series of things. I mean,
well, like Home Improvement was based off of a stand-up set that Tim Allen did at some point.
So there you go.
Right. I believe, I could be wrong, but I think so. Little, almost the same vein, but not really. No, that's not a stand-up bit. Never mind, that's a sketch. I was going to reference Pee Wee Herman. That was a sketch that he did that turned into a big special that turned into a kid's show.
Well, I mean, he used to be, Pee Wee Herman was a stand-up character he had.
Right.
So it's definitely a relevant, reference because that turned into a whole lifestyle.
Yeah.
That he survived on, I would assume, until, his recent passing. But
I heard the other day on Shepard's podcast that he came up with Pee Wee Herman and the Groundlings in Los Angeles because Dax Shepard did the Groundlings and he was talking about all the people who came from it. I think the Groundlings doesn't exist anymore. No, I'm sorry. Was it Shepard's podcast or was it on Smosh? Because Amanda that's on Smosh is one of the last members of the Groundlings. Someone from the Groundlings talked about Pee Wee Herman coming up with it there.
Yeah, so definitely a relevant character to reference, and within that, it's kind of cutting the teeth, right? You got to go. I don't know. There's something about actually living life instead of just hiding behind a pen and paper, right?
No, I agree. I think that's important. I think you get out there, you get yourself vulnerable, you say the jokes.
Yeah, make them go, that's stupid. That joke sucks.
Hopefully not. On that note, I've heard heckling has gotten out of hand because TikTok and Instagram have been sharing a lot of crowd work.
Yeah.
And so now people go to comedy shows and they're like, I'm going to talk so I can be the crowd work. And it's like, no, the crowd work is part of the segment. Like it's a segment within the 15 minutes that the guy's doing. Like, wait your turn.
I can definitely understand how that's an issue.
Yeah.
People just want to be part of the things,
People do. I mean, people do want to be part of a movement.
And they want to be on the right side, too. So it's they're
like,
I want to be funny. I'm going to say something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not you shouldn't have said that one.
Right. That reminds me of one that was real funny. I think she's a smaller comedian, but she's doing crowd work, and she was like, how do you two know each other? And they're like, oh, we're the brother and sister. And then they kiss. Mm-hmm. And she was like, y'all planned this, right? Like, y'all were like, if we get asked, we're saying we're brothers.
Jason Eckery.
Yeah.
He's
oh, was it him?
Yeah.
I thought it was a girl.
He's like, what?
Yeah.
And it was the first date.
It was a first date, and they planned, which is a baller move to like suggest to your date. Let's say that we're
Right? Wasn't it him?
Yeah, I think you're right. So I'm gonna ruin your first set. I'm gonna heckle you the whole time.
I'm not
just
gonna
kidding.
tell you where it's at.
No,
I'm going rogue
rogue.
on my first set.
For the record, I really wouldn't do that. I used to get annoyed. I say people. I don't know if they watch this, but we have a friend that used to go to the Jackson's Lost Cause shows. And because I would say ridiculous things in between my songs, he would also say ridiculous things to me. And I was like, dude, shut up and let me do my thing. So I would not come in.
Who is that?
I'm not going to say his name.
Why?
I mean, I guess I get it out. I'll bleep it.
You're not going to do either of those things.
I'm going to bleep it.
We both know you're not cutting this out. Who is it?
It was Trey.
Oh.
Is there, I don't know how to ask this. Is there a style of stand-up comedy that you aspire to incorporate?
I don't really know if there's a certain style thing. I mean, I can tell you what I'm not gonna do more so.
Okay.
You know, I'm not gonna try to copy other ones.
You're not going to try to copy
I'm not gonna
everything?
try to say Kinnison's dead. I need to yell. You know, but
What?
like Sam Kinnison, he's passed on, but I'm gonna be the new yelling guy. You know,
Who's that?
he just always screamed all that. Like that's the best reference I can give to him. He had long
Dude.
hair, wore a trench coat a lot. I think a beret. I think he wore a beret sometimes, but I might be misremembering that part.
I guess I never saw him.
But he does like I mean, honestly, the only thing I can think of to emulate would be cursing. So he'd be like Bleep City type stuff.
Yeah.
But he's just an old great that, you know, sometimes I would watch other people, you know, do their early on stuff, you know, in their development. You could see where they were like, oh, they're definitely a fan of this person. They're trying to copy that person's formula. I would just probably be more like anecdotal, I suppose. More real life situations that I've actually experienced that are funny to me. That sometimes are just so stupid and outrageous. People are like, "There's no way, dude! Like you're full of it." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. Since it's that outrageous, this has to be some sort of stage setup then."
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, you know, me and Zach sticking out of the back of an Aston Martin going 65 down the interstate sounds insane.
Right.
But Mookie and the cop, because he's a cop, I'm not going to say his name.
Right.
We were there, you know, and just fun stuff like that. So I'd probably tell them stories of back in the day. I do have some like one-liners, though, and punchline style jokes. And try to work those in, see if it fits, and see if I find a better method there.
So if you find your thing.
But until I get on a stage and try all of it out, I'm not going to try to commit to any of it, you know?
No, I get that.
Aside from I don't want to try to emulate someone else. And I'm going to start avoiding, the closer I get to those days, avoiding watching specific stand-up. Not
Right.
comedy. Like, I watch movies and stuff.
Well, it was like, I think I don't remember what. It was one of our WWE sketches. I remember I delivered a line just like Ryan George. And you were like, no.
I had to,
And I was like, I didn't mean to.
yeah, and
But
I
I'd
had
been-
to be like, we need a reset here. But it's fine.
Yeah.
And that happens. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about. Because I know I do that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
That's why I really would want to avoid some of that when on the
Completely.
ramp up to it.
That makes sense. I want to say, I don't remember if this was an idea that one of my friends had, or if this was like something, either like a band like Coldplay or Minus the Bear did. I don't remember. But it was a band. And the band went to a rural location, like they went to the mountains and rented a cabin. And they shut themselves off from, like, they did not listen to music while they wrote an upcoming album. They made I don't know if it was an experiment. I don't know if it was
Well, I
just
mean,
to
I like to
prevent-
practice abstinence from things like that too. Whenever I was doing that kind of stuff, so I
Yeah.
definitely relate because it's the same method I'm bringing over here,
Right.
which is just like it's not I think I'm pure doing that. It's
No.
kind of like a cleansing the palate.
No, yeah.
You know, that's the mentality behind it, is just to make sure that you don't accidentally bring someone else's voice into your story.
And which, yeah, especially when you're trying to make sure, like, you as a comedian, if your goal is to amplify your voice as opposed to mimic someone else's, then yeah, it's a good idea to do things like that, I think.
Yeah, if I remind you of somebody and then you're like, that guy's okay, but you know who you reminded me of that's really good, and then you start watching that guy.
Right.
Let's just go look over that guy next time instead of watching this.
That
schmuck.
too. Also, it's real easy. Like, I know we've both written, and I think both music and jokes that I either want to put in a sketch or in, I do plan on also joining you on the stand-up stage at some point, both by myself, and I think we've discussed doing the duo on stage.
Yeah.
See what fits.
Yeah, because there are some jokes that could play better with somebody else, working the crowd too.
I always loved the way the Sklar brothers worked too. Not that I want to be the Sklar brothers.
I don't think,
but they're twins.
Their
brain works
in a phenomenally, it's like processors when they do that.
Yeah,
they're linking up, man. They're Intel inside.
Yeah, there's a thing going on there. So yeah, I'm not.
They're Intel inside. We're Gentile inside.
Nice.
Okay, I'm sorry. We'll leave now. See, that's why we wouldn't work as trying to be them, because that's the kind of jokes they do well, and I would fuck it up by doing that kind of shit.
We've pitched jokes before, and we're like, this wouldn't work in a sketch. It would work in a stand-up, but only if both of us were on stage.
So that's another thing that's a possibility of the attempts, and again, not committing to it.
Yeah. And also that us doing a duo eventually or a stand-up duo is almost the beginnings of this anyways. We started with the entertainment DJing at Crocs.
Yeah, I gotta say, even though I always wanted to do music, it helped me with my mentality approaching it.
Yeah.
Used to get the shakes so much that, being on stage. I think I'm okay now.
I'm getting a little better about it. I don't know if I will ever 100% get away with, and I think, oddly enough, last week's podcast with Gus, I referenced this. Scared to be on stage without my guitar or a piano. Not saying if I ever did like a 45-minute stand-up special, if I got there, or if I were to get there, that I would do like the Dana Carvey, who else? Bo Burnham uses instruments.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I would do that in my stand-up. I also wouldn't not do that. I don't know. I'm just saying I'm nervous without those things.
Well, and who knows? What if that's what it ends up, where we're like a Tenacious D thing, and that's what the duo thing ends up, and that's why it's good to go try to get these things out of the way. If we end up with a YouTube thing that specifically comes out of this, well, then we got it done,
right?
Sooner than later. And if not, that's fine. We're having fun and we're growing the right way. We're rounding the corner for 200. Do you realize that? We're at 174.
I want to say too, on those lines, I noticed that our view count per video has gone down quite a bit, but our regular audience seems to be growing.
It was more like a sporadic grasping of things.
Yeah.
And now it's like a swell.
Yeah. And I'm like,
swell of a blob of accumulation.
So like the last 5 videos we posted, none of them have hit triple digits, I don't think. But at the same time, I'm like, they're consistently hitting, or
8 views a day.
Yeah, 15, that big, a little bit more, and like from the same audience too.
And thank you guys so much, because, it's obviously we wouldn't be able to do this without you, but
it's the truth.
Thank you.
Like, yeah,
we are sincerely grateful. We're having a lot of fun, and we hope to one day be able to include everybody that we can in everything that we can. Yeah. I think we're showing that, but we're working on more projects behind the scenes that I don't want to talk about, because there's nothing set in stone, and I don't want to count the chickens before the eggs, and so to speak. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun. I mean, I guess I kind of did that with talking about JP, since we haven't had that recorded yet, but we're having good conversations with him, and I don't see a reason to be afraid of that.
No. We're also going to challenge him to a boxing match.
We should. We should challenge him to a celebrity, not a celebrity, a
YouTuber.
Yeah, but not necessarily boxing, just like some sort of challenge.
Some sort of challenge. Challenge.
Collab challenge. Like, hey, we brought 2 gallons of milk. You down?
Oh, God, dude. I'm going to tell you, you've pitched the milk thing before. There's a lot of things I'll do for clicks. I really don't want to do anything with milk. I really don't want to.
Milk. The
idea of all of that in my stomach makes me sick. Also, what was it?
That's kind of the point.
There's something. Yeah, I know. There's something else that everyone thought was real funny with the dude. Oh, it's a Impractical Joker's punishment, where they pour milk all over. Like, a big dude gets gets in the truck with someone and pours milk all over himself, and it's all over the
I know
car.
what our next punishment for AI is.
Oh no, you're
Is
gonna
the
cover me in
loser
milk.
gets covered in milk and then cocoa powder.
Oh man, that's all. Just like
What if
probably-
I lose? I lost the worst too so far.
I still don't
quote
want to. I
unquote.
still don't want to see you do it. Like I don't. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is a punishment for me, regardless.
Hey, I understand. I don't like sticky substances, and I've been covered in grape jelly, Nutella, and what
Yeah.
else?
What, have we covered you
Oh,
anything
the
else
blood,
yet?
the fake blood.
Oh, the fake
I was
blood.
like, I've been freaking out over something on another set.
That's true. I haven't been covered in anything, and honestly, I can probably handle being covered in stuff more than you. Milk.
I can't stand it.
I feel like
Freaks me out.
I feel like I could be covered in the milk. I could stand that better than watching you do it. Honestly, I won't lie. I know that might sound weird and backwards, but I'm just being honest. I think I could.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there because now it's the next challenge.
Yeah, because that's a relatively affordable and easy.
I think it would cost us 1 gallon.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about like $6 here, $5 here,
Yeah.
dollar store stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and the loser gets doused, and it's something we can do in the backyard that won't really hurt the environment. But yeah, it's gonna be funny. We just got to be careful around the face
If we do, I will say this.
and have a fan ready so that we can breathe.
I will say this. If we do,
That mask.
when we do this one, we need to mask. We also do need to set up a behind the scenes cam or something just so we have some extra stuff.
Sure.
Especially because I'm not a big fan of milk. I think you're gonna get some reactions from me. So I think it's worth it. Like,
Well, it would be nice if we could maybe reach out there and see if there's a videographer in the West Texas, Midland, Odessa area that is interested in helping us get some of this done and, wants to be a camera person to some degree.
Yeah.
In their life or the director or anything and or producer.
yes.
We'll have a little powwow. We're not saying the first person we're going to interview gets hired, but if you're interested in joining us on this endeavor, we're rounding the corner to 200. And by the way,
For
100 yeah, for free. I mean, honestly, we got to be upfront about it, right? We're not talking about getting paid.
We're not making money yet. Hopefully we will.
But we just did the 100 followers. Like, when was it?
70 followers ago.
I hate you.
It
It wasn't too long ago.
It was January or February.
It was this year, correct?
Yes.
So we did hit that this year. Then we're almost to 200. If we could get to 300 by the end of the, I'm really hoping we can somehow achieve 5.
By the end of the year?
I really have in the back of my mind. That's a subtle. We're gonna hit 5, but I really believe that we can.
If you subscribe, I'll send you $1. Put your address in the comments.
That's a terrible idea. I'm for it. I mean, he's already said it. If you somehow communicate your address to us and prove that you're subscribed for 6 months, he'll send you.
I'll send you $1.
What if 1,000? What if 1 million people do this? We're gonna have to figure out a loan.
But if we got 1 million subscribers that quick, I think
Where's your cutoff? We gotta give yourself a cutoff. 1 million subscribers is cutoff.
it's fine. There's no cutoff. Whatever. Go for it. Make it happen. Make it 1 million.
You got to prove that you've been subscribed for 6 months. In this proof. That
Yeah,
you
so
get-
it's
you get
6 months
provided to
from
us.
today. So next
6 months total.
total.
So if they watch this next week, and they're like, "Oh shoot," and they click subscribe, and then 6 months from that button time, they show us. This is gonna be on there. They can't predict when they're gonna watch it.
That's true.
That's why I'm trying to give you a cutoff, but you said there's no cutoff.
No cutoff.
So you heard the man, folks.
They got to find this one, though.
They gotta find this one. I got you.
Yeah. They got to make sure that the subscribe has to come
You're
from
hoping
this
people
video.
are gonna share this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The subscribe has to come from this video. Like, because we can.
What if I go and clip this part?
We get that. Yeah. We get that information, right? So I'm saying they have to click subscribe during or at the end of this video. They can't go to the home screen. They can't subscribe from another one. They have to subscribe from this episode of the podcast.
How do we know that?
We can look at that. It's on our stuff.
We can see how many people, but can we see specific people?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we can see specific people.
That's what I'm saying. Or is that a thing that bigger channels can see and we just can't because we're tiny?
I don't know. I wouldn't know that. I've been on the Tiny channel since day one. I haven't gotten to.
I've been on the Tiny channel since day one.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to work on a big one. One day.
We arguably are part of a management team for a larger channel. Or not arguably, we literally are.
That's true.
We're helping manage that channel now, not to a great extent. But I don't see. Well, they still haven't gotten certain things either with that channel. So maybe as they grow, we'll find out that answer sooner than later. But until then, you got to figure something out about this dollar.
I'm gonna send you $1 for subscribing, but I don't know how. I need your address.
Woo!
And I need to see that you subscribed.
Oh. It doesn't get any better than I don't know how.
I don't know how.
Just like the gears.
For the record, too, I'm not talking about Cash App and Venmo. I'm gonna put a physical dollar in an envelope.
We're
and
not
mail it to you.
We're not meeting you halfway.
No,
we're not doing this negotiation bullshit. He said $1.
Right.
He didn't say $1's worth. He said $1.
Right.
Which is a physical dollar. I got your back on this, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
God, dude, I would laugh my ass off.
What if we get $1 million out of this? That would be hilarious.
In
if
like
somehow
in like 1 week.
I mean, we could figure it out, but
I mean, we would be monetized almost immediately. But I don't think we'd make $1 million. I think average YouTuber makes like 1,000 extra bucks a month.
We could reach out to other YouTubers to work it out.
Yeah,
we could figure it out. We have enough
Mr. Beast
thought process. No, but I mean, we could figure it out.
Yeah, we could.
Because if you pop like that, then people notice you too, and then you got more leverage to talk to people. And
that's true.
I'm saying we could figure it out.
You get $1. You get $1.
Can we pause real quick? I'm gonna try to grab something real quick.
Yeah. Welcome to this edition of the Jackson Grist Show, where today I will be talking about if I had a lightsaber, it should be the color aqua. And that's because it's my favorite color and it would look really cool. So whoever's in charge, Disney, of Star Wars, if you let me be a Jedi, give me an aqua one. He's back.
I'm trying to figure out if there's one of these I can deliver on here.
I was gonna joke about that later, but yeah, if you are gonna give us one, then awesome. Because
a lot of them do require it's not crowd work, but some sort of people to point at and kind of.
Do you want me to be your crowd?
Nah, I already read it. It's not gonna. It wouldn't play. Or like the chef, Swedish chef. Yeah, so racist.
How?
He's Swedish.
Yeah.
Not you, them.
Those were white people writing that.
Okay, let's see if this one plays out there.
All right. Should I see if I can put a brick wall behind you?
Man, I can help you do that.
Okay.
We can do that for this one, yeah.
All right.
In this day of cancel culture, I'm really tired of men always getting the rough end of the stick. You know, they always say that we over-sexualize everything. You know, oh, it shouldn't be how I dress or anything like that. Well, that's fine. But, you know, in the world of comedy, women comics do way more sex jokes. It's always about, you know, my vaginal wall this, if men had ovaries that. Why can't men do more vaginal jokes? Pussies.
That's funny.
You like that?
I legit. So, I mean, I like it. Can I tell you why I like it?
Sure, yeah.
Because
thank you, by the way.
In my brain, you were going to go to a place, or I thought the setup was going to go to a place of how little men know about vaginas. But instead, you just called all the men pussies for not.
Thank you.
Saying, which is good. Like, it's really good.
Thank you. Yes. So that's what I was doing, and I appreciate it. I am trying to build this, okay, he's going to go, and it's really not going to be a joke. It's really going to be this, here's my mansplaining. Right. And that's what I don't like about some comics. before they get to a joke's end. Sometimes they want to be preachy. And it's fine to be preachy in your comedy, but more often it's going to get you better to just go to the joke. And I was hoping, and I still am hoping, we get some laughs from that one, at least at this point in this episode, since I put it out there.
Right.
But if not, then I'll try it in front of a crowd and see how I do.
I think you should. I think there's no reason not to.
That's one of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it.
Thank you.
Let us know in the comments what you think of Adrian's pussy joke.
I wrote a joke for my cousin last night that I wish I could do, but you would only get it, and nobody over there would get it. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to say it. And I also kind of want to hear him be able to get it off out there.
Yeah. I want to hear him get it off, too.
I hope he watches that.
Sorry.
No, I went with it.
Right?
Damn it. But yeah, I honestly think that the one I wrote for him last night, or I wrote for him, the one that I pitched to him last night, I think that's one of the funnier ones that I've written. But again, there's a lot of context involved, so I think that's why. Whereas, really in comedy, you got to be able to set up a lot,
Yeah.
And part of his setup is that he's a doctor, like an actual doctor, pharmacist specifically, but they introduce him as doctor, like if he wanted to. So he can set up jokes in an entirely different way just based off of that title and profession alone.
Oh, yeah.
So, some of the stuff he can get away with, I couldn't, and vice versa.
Right.
He's also 6'3", 6'2", and I think he looks way more Mexican, but people mistake him for not Mexican all the time.
Middle Eastern, right? Is that what they
think he looks white from what he was telling.
Okay.
I think that's what he was saying. But other races, sure, yeah, as well. Which I get a lot of other races in specific,
Yeah, me too,
Eastern.
all the time.
Like what?
Yeah, people are like, "Oh, man, you're black, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I can see it. Mostly when you do the face paint.
But, that does not happen.
I mean, you set it up, dude. I could not say.
Also, one of those.
He does not do that for the record. He asked me to put it on him. No, of course not. But it does get me thinking, because we do have to think about prosthetics soon, in a way, and some costume for some film that we do need to talk face paints. Joking aside, so
Yes.
So yeah, there's a lot of fun on the front, and on the back end. We're working a lot for you guys. Hopefully, we're going to be producing a lot more content that you're enjoying, producing the same content that you're enjoying, and just growing as this community grows with you. Hopefully, we are growing, too.
I'm 39 years old. I'm not growing anymore.
I don't wanna grow up. Wait, can we sing that? Is Toys R Us back?
No. What? There was like a pop-up Toys R Us.
Is that what it was?
Like last Christmas, there was like a pop-up or something like that.
So then I can sing that, huh?
Pretty sure it doesn't belong to anybody.
You Toys R Us. There's a lot of big kids out there.
Yeah.
A lot of Disney parents and all that. All
100%.
those words.
I'm 100% guilty of this.
Yeah,
and I don't care.
I'm just doing quotations because that's what
it.
they're called. And,
Yeah.
It's kind of like an unofficial title.
Yeah, Disney adults, big kids, this and that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot more in our age bracket. Bring on YouTube as we try to do this.
Here we are, covering ourselves in milk. There was talk of us eating testicles.
I also think we need to have some sort of summer games thing soon.
When I dove into YouTube during the pandemic, which I think was around the time we talked about doing this, I don't remember. Maybe we talked about it before. I don't remember.
I've been trying to get that video out of you for years.
Yeah, but that wasn't wasn't always for a YouTube channel.
Oh, I mean, I was streaming on Twitch. Hit you up probably right after moving to Austin time.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was then. Yeah, maybe that was it.
Because that's when we started doing Weird Beers.
Yeah, that's right. We did Weird Beers pre-pandemic.
Which I still have somewhere.
I have an episode of it on that computer.
It'd be interesting to cut that properly and put that out.
On Patreon, I don't think.
Actually, yeah. No, actually.
Yeah.
We should do something like that. Let's try to figure something out about that.
Yeah. But Smosh had done a summer games thing where it was like, I think one episode, or like 1 year it was the games cast versus the rest of the cast, the sketch and
Yeah.
the comedy cast, and then later years it was kind of a conglomeration of mix up of them. But I was like, this seems like one of the coolest things, and I won't lie, I want BamBam-O-Rama. I don't necessarily want to be huge, but I would like for it to be big enough, whether it includes our friends or people that come along with us later on, to do something like that. I don't want to rip off Smosh, but I think that Summer Games thing was just so cool.
I mean, I think that's, it's no longer ripping off people, right? Somebody else has definitely done Summer Games things, you know?
I mean, I'm sure.
Whether it's Texas Roadhouse, you can take for reference, vis-a-vis the businesses were the inspiration, or other fundraisers did it.
If I remember correctly, I think Nickelodeon did some kind of Summer Games thing when we were kids.
Yeah, it was blue versus red type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there was Wild and Crazy Kids, but I think there was like specifically like a Summer Games thing. Yeah, and I would love to do something like that. If we can grow our...
I've always envisioned us being at 10 to 12 people, you know, strong within like 3-4 years, hopefully.
I think that'd be great.
I'm really thinking...
When you say 10 to 12, you mean like that's like our whole production crew? Or
yeah,
or
like
that's
maybe
who's
that's
on
5 actors and 5 editors, or maybe that's, you know, a mixed match of those figures.
Mixed match of all of it.
And maybe there's some that are, you know, multifaceted, like I'll still do editing sometimes, and obviously this and that, and then we'll have 1 or 2 actors and or writers that are like that, and they want to write and edit, but they don't want to do that and this and that.
But there are definitely people like that.
Yeah. So I've just always kind of had this vision of, we have a lot of, you know, people that are capable of doing 1 or 2 things.
Yes.
And our crew being 10 to 12 because of that.
I think that would be wonderful and awesome. And if we could have Summer Games thing, some kind of seasonal competition, I think it would be super fun.
And hopefully, because of the way that we operate, you know, it's just a natural, like, yeah, we want to do that, instead of a team builder. Please come do this for the team building thing.
I'll be completely honest. I hate team building exercises.
Right.
I don't want to do that. I just want us to have fun. Like,
exactly.
And I guess, I mean, yeah, but I guess a Summer Games thing essentially would be a team building thing. But I want to do it for actual fun, as opposed to the goal of,
this is to make everyone closer.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to pitch it like that for some people.
That's true.
If they're not disgruntled, but they're just disinterested. You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I've also told you that I've envisioned that we'd be able to go for morning walks with our, you know, the group, and do that kind of stuff. You know?
I think that'd be great too. I think some of the ideas we had for for BamBam-O-Rama LLC, however it turns out to, I think it'd be a great place to work at. Hopefully it grows enough.
It could turn into something else though, right?
It could turn into Amazon, where we are making billions and our employees are working for pennies.
Yes.
We do essentially talk a lot about BamBam-O-Rama being not necessarily making the same content, but is a very, from what my understanding, it is a very similar idea to what Smosh is currently.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, which I think is wonderful. I think Smosh, as much as I love Mythical and look up to Mythical, I do think Smosh would be a dream job. Like, if I had the opportunity to go work at Smosh, it'd be hard for me to say no.
That's the thing. Like, if they were to offer one of us a job, it'd suck. But if they were to call you, I'd be like, go do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But if you dare forget me a year from now, if I'm like still working on the sidelines and you were like not picking me up, I'll be. You know?
Oh no, for real, yeah.
Aside, we have to bleep that, but no. Joking aside, it could happen.
Oh yeah.
Somebody could call one of us and say, "I've got this job, I've got this job, or this job. It's going to take you away for 6 months, or you have to be in this location for this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be able to do BamBams, whatever." The other person should be allowed and able to, and I would hope that it does happen to both of us.
Oh yeah.
But oh yeah.
Oh, it'd be great. I mean, honestly, it's
so Smosh, Ian, Anthony, and the rest of you.
Yeah.
Please pick us both up. But if not, you can have him.
You could also have him.
So as you have it, Smosh, make sure you offer us each a nice. We don't want much. We're not asking for a lot of money. We just want to be able to eat and sleep somewhere without getting wet.
Especially if you're gonna have us move to California. So I guess it would be a lot of money, just not.
Or, what would be fun is if somehow they started doing satellite smoshes. And we
Ooh.
get to be the first trial satellite smosh team.
They did that during the pandemic, but that's
Okay.
also
But this is like a not required thing. So you can have
Right.
more fun with that.
that's true.
And you're not thinking on your back heel, you're thinking on your foot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we could be your first satellite thing. And then every now and then we come to home base, and, get with the crew. And if not, we're out doing things that would be Smosh ideas, but not something the Smosh team would normally do.
True.
Like more traditional travel food shows, you could send us on.
Yeah.
And then we could be like,
we could be Smosh Travel.
yeah, exactly.
That's a new channel.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We're
Yeah.
like the satellite of Smosh. We can go do stuff out there and then come report back to you,
Honestly, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
And if they
And
rip us
also-
off and don't hire us, I'll be sad, but I will
I'll
good
understand.
on you. I'll understand.
I won't like it.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to
Okay.
wrap up. Just won't do
Right.
that. Hold your-
Thank y'all for listening. Please let us know what you think about any of the crazy things we talked about today in the comments.
There's going to be more stuff on our Patreon soon. We've got more exciting guests coming your way on our podcast. And of course, we love you.
We love y'all. Check out our comedy.
We got sketches, man. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Share them. Share all of this. You can actually even click the share button, copy link, and it helps us. Did you know that?
Yeah.
It's funny. You don't have to do anything out past that. You just click that copy link button and it helps.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's nuts.
That's
I'm
what
always
they
clicking
told
that.
me. They told me that.